In this question, we've got to find the length of the side along the bottom of the triangle. The first thing we've got to do in any of these questions is to label the sides either hyp, op or edge. And the order to do it is best to go hyp, op and edge. The hyp, short for hypotenuse, is the longest side. It's the side that is always opposite the right angle. So this side over here will be the hypotenuse. The opposite is the side that is opposite the other angle. So we have an angle here. This side is opposite to it. So that side will be labelled OPP for opposite. The other side has got to be the adjacent, ADJ, short for adjacent. And to check, it will always be between the angle and the right angle. Now, two of the sides you've just labelled will already have had something written on them. Here, the hypotenuse already had 20 written on it. I'm going to circle the word hypotenuse. And here, the adjacent already had an X on it. I'm going to circle the word adjacent. Opposite had nothing written on it. I'm going to leave that one alone. So these are the two sides we're going to use, the hypotenuse and the adjacent. And it's now you need to refer back to the Sokotoa, or however you remember that, maybe sex on holiday can affect health till old age. And you are looking to see which of these sets of three letters has got an H and an A in it. That has an O and an H. Here we have an A and an H. That is what we are going to be using, that set. And you need to write down what that set stands for. The C stands for cos, the A for adjacent, and the H for hypotenuse. So we're using cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. The way I recommend we go from here is to draw a small formula triangle and put the letters C-A-H in here. And the order always goes 1, 2, 3. So it will be C-A-H. And what I'll do next is draw a bigger version of that where we can put some other extra information in. The C is standing for cos, so we'll write that in here. And in this bottom left position, the angle always goes in here. Whether you know it or not, the angle always goes bottom left. The angle here is 34 degrees, so I'll put 34 here. The A is standing for adjacent. The adjacent side has an X on it. So the A, because it stands for adjacent, I will replace with an X. The H stands for hypotenuse. My hypotenuse has got 20 on it, so I'll put 20 down here. If you find you've got a number on the bottom left and the bottom right, you have to multiply these two bits together. So the next thing to do is cos 34 and times that by 20. So it's time to reach for your calculator. And on this calculator I will do cos 34 times by 20. Before we go any further, I'll just point out on your calculator there will be a letter or a word at the top. Here that's a small d. If it's a D, you're okay. If it's not a D, if it's an R or a G, you will get all your trig questions wrong. So for this question I've got cos 34 times by 20, press equals, I get 16.58. If I do this to three significant figures, that'll be fine. So rather than 16.58 something, which is what the calculator gives me, I'll say it's 16.6. I rounded the 5 up because what comes after the 5 is 5 or more than 5. Don't forget your units. The original drawing, everything was in centimetres, so my 16.6 will also be in centimetres, and that is the length of the missing side.